Welcome to Real Estate Focus. I'm Kelvin Law. Our topic is fire prevention, including installing proper fire and smoke alarms and carbon monoxide alarms in the proper places to prevent a fire and to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning in your home or in a property. Here with me today is Captain Roger Kineavy. Captain Roger Kineavy is with the Quincy Fire Prevention, and he is here today to share his insightful information regarding where the smoke and carbon monoxide alarms should be placed and where they should go in your home or in a property. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate you having me here.
Thank you, and welcome.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Glad you can join us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's go into it, if you will. So the first question is, why should I have a working smoke alarm in a home or in a property?
Every home should have working smoke alarms. Mm-hmm. The most obvious and most important reason is simply that it saves lives. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about that. Statistics have shown that the majority of fires, probably mm-hmm. 3/4 of all fatal fires, occur in the home.
Right.
And the majority of those happen at night
mm-hmm.
when people are sleeping.
Right.
And it's some people under the false illusion that sometimes they think the smoke mm-hmm. will arouse them.
Right.
A lot of times it's the opposite. A lot of times the smoke works as it'll put them into a deeper sleep. Mm-hmm. And so that's the reason. I mean, prior to 1975, I mean, homes weren't required to have them. Now they have them, mm-hmm. and it's helped out with the safety,
so
significantly.
It's important actually.
Very important.
Right, and we talk about lives here, and
exactly,
and also property asset or damages, if you will.
Right.
So
right.
So it is important to have the proper smoke alarms and carbon monoxide, in a home or in a building,
life
and then
safety,
property,
and then property conservation.
Right, that's right. Yeah,
life safety number one. So
that's good to know. And in terms of when it comes to smoke alarms, I mean, there are different types out there, if mm-hmm. you will. Please explain to the viewers in terms of what types of smoke alarms or detectors out there that they can purchase to install in their home.
Well, we see a hardwired smoke detector. That's the most preferred. That's where you'd have to hire an electrician to come in and hook it up and wire it to the main power source in the house. Also with the electric, you'll also have a battery backup. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people don't understand that, but there's a battery backup in case you lose power, which often happens during a fire situation. They would still sound due to the battery backup. But besides the powered here, the hardwired ones, we have the battery powered ones.
Yes, right.
And so any house prior to 1975, they weren't required to have smoke detectors. Now houses after that date, they're required to have hardwired. So we're kind of concerned about the houses, which are the majority of the houses, mm-hmm. the pre-1975 ones. Mm-hmm. And so we get the smoke, we get the battery powered ones. Right. There's actually two kinds to that. Mm-hmm. We get the photoelectric, mm-hmm. and we have the ionization.
Yes. And
without getting too much into the technical aspects of that, it's just important to remember that the ionization one is more subject to nuisance alarms. They're good to have because they're more sensitive. But as far as being in certain areas, like out near kitchens, within 20 feet of kitchen or a bathroom with a shower, you want a photoelectric.
Mm-hmm. Right. Anywhere that near the water.
Exactly.
Or anywhere that near the kitchen or something like that. And with smoke sensitive areas, that it's best to install photoelectric.
Right.
And
there's a reason for that too. It's
mm-hmm.
Before the photoelectric came about,
mm-hmm.
people would, I think we're all guilty of it once in a while, they take the battery out when the cooking would set off the alarms.
That's right.
Or else, maybe your priorities would be a little askew, and your clicker to your TV would need a battery, and you take that out.
Right.
It's the wrong thing to do. But a lot of times, you don't replace that.
Yeah.
You forget about it, and you don't replace it, and you get a worthless, powerless smoke detector up there. So
I see. Yeah. So it's important to keep all those in working condition, if you will. So especially I know for a fact that most smoke alarms or most carbon monoxides, I mean, they look like eyesore, or they could be annoying, with the noise and stuff like that, But even though I mentioned to most people, you got to keep them on, and also you got to have them in place. I mean, you can't just take them out because you might violate the safety codes, if you will. So, and in terms of now, since we explained different types of smoke alarms and including the battery ones and hot wires, I mean, and how expensive they are. I mean, I know that they come in different prices. They could range between, I would say, $19 to $36, and some of them are dual as well.
Yes.
Right. Some of them dual with smoke and also with carbon monoxide.
CO detectors.
Right. And also some of them, could be sounded. Right. With a voice or something like that. So I mean, they are very sophisticated.
Oh, sure.
And the more expensive ones, of course, they work much better. Yeah. And in terms of placement of the smoke alarms, I mean, the graphic shows that. If you can explain, Captain.
All right. It looks like a single-family home right here. Let's take the smoke detector first. What you want, each level, you want a smoke detector at each level. And let me start at the basement level here. You want a smoke detector on the bottom of the stairs, on the ceiling, the flat ceiling, right before you go up the stairs. You want a smoke detector there.
Right.
In the garage, you don't want to have a smoke detector in the garage. What you want in the garage is a heat detector.
Right.
Like I said, we talked about nuisance alarms. That would say, the exhaust from the car would set that off too often. And you're either going to ignore it when it goes off in a real fire situation, or you're just going to take the battery out like we've discussed before. The second floor, you have a living room and a kitchen. You want the smoke detector also at the bottom of the stairwell leading upstairs. And in this instance, since we're so close to the kitchen here, within 20 feet of a kitchen, you want that to be solely a photoelectric smoke detector. For what we discussed earlier, where you don't, want people removing the batteries. The top floor, you want one outside the bedrooms. There's no, you get the hallway, then you get 2 bedrooms, so centrally located within that hallway, you want a smoke detector. There's no footage, there's no actual rule of footage, how close it has to be to the bedroom. It's supposed to be outside the bedrooms, so one would suffice upstairs there. CO detectors also, to keep it simple, you need one at every level. And the only rule with the CO detectors, the one upstairs where the bedrooms are, they have to be within 10 feet of the bedrooms. So in this scenario, you may need 2 of them, one outside each bedroom.
Right.
But if it's a small hallway and essentially there's a plug in the center of the hallway and it's within 10, you can get away with the 1.
Right.
And as far as the other 2 areas go downstairs, they can basically go anywhere in the rooms. Whatever the manufacturer says. Some of them plug in, other ones you put in the wall.
Right. Right. And for most people that they're not sure in terms of where to install the CO and also the smoke alarms, I mean, where can they check the information? I know that when they purchase a smoke alarm, let's say, on the back of the smoke alarm that comes with a manual or a graphic to tell them that where to install the smoke alarms. I mean, other than looking at the manual that comes with the device, I mean, where can they check on information regarding where they should install the alarms and also the carbon monoxide alarms in a home? Okay.
Well, first of all, they're free to call my office anytime. We welcome any calls. We give out information all the time. I can give you that number right now. It's 617-376-1015.
Okay.
And we also have booklets out there we can give out so you can take with you. And you can look it up at your leisure. Also, you can go to the DFS website. That's the Department of Fire Services website. And and you'll be able to scroll down and to a menu and find out exactly what the requirements are also.
Well, good to know. Yeah, very good information. And in terms of maintenance, I mean, how often do you need to maintain a smoke alarm?
Okay.
I mean, like once a month or twice a week, or or I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
My understanding, if the smoke alarm themselves are good for 8 to 10 years.
All right.
As far as the batteries go, they say the good rule of thumb is to change them when you change your clocks, whether you roll them back or go ahead. So spring and fall, twice a year.
Right.
It's a good way to remember it. Right, and now there's new technology coming out where some of these smoke detectors are lasting for 10 years, the batteries. So you put them up, and after 10 years, you replace the whole unit itself. So.
Right. Is that including the hot wire or just the battery ones?
I think I'm not sure. I know it's the battery one now, but I think the hard wire, it'll probably last longer.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But the batteries in it themselves will last 10 years. So.
Right. And I think the costs are pretty much very similar, between the two, battery and also hot wire. Right. So,
but like I said, the hard wire it's the preferable. It's going to cost you a lot of money to get them connected. You have to hire an electrician, things like that. But when you're talking about safety and people's lives, it's relatively cheap.
Especially new homes.
New homes are required.
Right. That's right. Or new construction homes, something like that. Where you need hot wire alarms nowadays. For fire safety purposes. So, in terms of alarms, as you mentioned before, so there's only two types, right? Ionization and also photoelectric. Just only those two types.
Those are two types.
Okay. So, and so. Certain types need to place, certain areas, and certain types need to be somewhere else, So, and by calling the number or, look at information online or something like that, that will pretty much, tell the homeowner where they should be placed. Okay, fantastic.
Let me just go back a little bit.
Yes,
as
please.
As I mentioned where the photoelectric go. People might be questioning, all right, where did the ionization go? Anywhere where that 20 rule doesn't come in, that you want a dual detector. You want an ionization and you want a photoelectric, one of the smoke detectors that has both capabilities. So in that diagram we saw earlier, you'd have one in the basement, you'd have a dual detector where you ionization and photoelectric. And up on the second floor, where there's no kitchen or a bathroom, you would also have the ionization and photoelectric.
Right.
So.
Okay. And this happened to a lot of people, and I'm guilty to say that, including myself. Whenever people cooking, with the sensing of the smoke and also with the odor, the alarm will go off. Is it a good idea to just take the battery out? Or should we just reset them?
Well, a lot of times, if you're cooking, it's not going to go off. I understand,
It depends on what type, right? Yeah.
You can wave a towel over it.
Right.
A lot of times you can clear the smoke out. I'm not going to tell anyone, advise anyone to take the battery out.
Right.
That's for sure.
That's a big no right there.
It's a big no.
Right.
Because just for the fact that people forget to put them back in and then they're useless. And
right.
Then, I would never advise that. Just open the windows, try to clear the smoke out that way, and wave a towel at the smoke detector. And sometimes that works.
Right.
But I would
a towel, is it a wet towel?
Never advise taking them. No, just a regular towel.
Oh, okay.
You just want you're clearing away the smoke from the smoke detector. So.
Right. Okay. Good advice, actually. And good technique as well. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It won't go off as quick as if you took the battery out, but you don't want to take the battery out.
Yeah.
You don't want to get into that practice.
Right. Just like a car without an engine, right? I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly.
And in terms of fire extinguisher, I know that this is sort of on the fence, if you will, when it comes to fire extinguisher. Is it important to have a fire extinguisher or two inside the home?
Sure, it's a great idea to have a fire extinguisher in the home. But keep in mind, we don't want people prolonging their stay in the house to put out a fire. If it's small enough and it's confined to a small basket or something like that, that's fine. But I make sure that the people who are in the house are outside the house and there's one person in there. And at the same time, they're just trying to put the fire out. Make sure that we're notified. 911 is called and the fire department is notified. Even if you think it's out, the fire's out, there's no problem, we don't have to be notified. We should be notified anyways to come out and clear the situation, make sure everything's fine. And
no, good to know. Right. Yeah. This is very good to be alert.
Definitely,
and
definitely.
To be notify the fire department as well. So and So the next device is going to be carbon monoxide. What is a carbon monoxide?
A carbon monoxide is a CO is a poisonous gas. Don't want to get too technical with it right now, but that's a CO detector right there. There's a lot of them on the market, all different types, and some of them you plug in, some they put on walls. But basically, CO is a poisonous gas. It comes from fossil fuels, insufficient combustion. Combustion is the burning process. And when you're lacking oxygen in that burning process, it produces a poisonous gas, and that's CO. And when I say fossil fuels, I mean any kind of things that burn, any kind of fuel you burn.
Like furnaces,
fireplaces. You get your stoves. You get gas dryers. So you get gas, you get oil, you get your fireplaces, you get your pellet stoves and all that stuff. And electricity there's no CO involved with electricity, but all those other ones. So it's important, to keep in mind your equipment should be maintained adequately. It's very important. Have your furnaces checked yearly, and just make sure things are clean. Your flue and your chimney's clean, and so that's important. And the scary thing about CO, though, it's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. You don't detect it. And sometimes the first symptoms or the first inclination you receive from that there's CO in the house is without a detector is you get lethargic, you might get a headache, but you can always. But people falsely attribute that to the flu or something, so they don't think of the CO. So without the CO detecting, you're not gonna get that positive, reading that you have that.
And for example, I mean, two cases, that just happened. One is in New Hampshire, Praxto, and then the other one is Legal Seafood
it was
in
New
New
York.
York.
Seafood, I think it was in New York, maybe Long Island.
That's right. I mean, when it comes to carbon monoxide, I mean, poisoning, they could be deadly. I mean, so it is important to have the CO in place. No matter where. I mean, it is important to detect the carbon monoxide gas because, especially when people have burning fireplaces, or have older furnaces, if you will. So I mean, that's important.
Exactly. And also important if the alarm goes off in your house, the CO, make sure you call 911, call the fire department. We'll come down. We'll have a meeting. We'll determine exactly where the source is coming from. We'll shut off the source of the fuel source. We'll open up all the windows, and we won't, we'll make sure it's safe before someone can get back in their house. So.
And is there a dangerous level in terms of carbon monoxide poisoning?
Oh yeah, there are certain dangerous levels. There's certain levels where we're going to come in and we're going to say, all right, you have to leave the house. You know what I mean? But anytime it goes off, I mean, those levels are going to increase if the problem isn't alleviated right away. So, once we get there, we're going to have you leave the house. We're going to, go in and open up the windows. And a lot of times, it just takes shutting off an appliance. You might have the gas lever on your stove on.
That's right.
Or something,
Now, based on the news that we have heard, and also the the stuff that we have seen. Now, most people, pass away because when they were asleep, and then they couldn't detect the carbon monoxide poisoning. Is that the case?
Yes, that's the case. Like I said, you get this false when you first get something like that without the detector. If you get the detector going off, you're going to take action.
I see.
But if you just, a regular carbon monoxide poison, it's slowly gonna develop. It's gonna first thing it's gonna put you to sleep. It'll give you a headache, and then you're gonna go to sleep, and you'll attribute to that. You
never wake up.
Most aspects you'll attribute that to something else. Just I don't feel well tonight. I'm gonna lay down and go to sleep. And then,
it's not a good sign.
Late,
That's right. Yeah, so it's a shame. So
it is.
And in terms of placement, I mean, where should carbon monoxide alarm place? I mean, there's a graph that you can talk about, if you will. So, for example, like each floor, as you mentioned before, require a CO.
All right. This is looks like one floor here. So you get bedroom. You get 3 bedrooms. That look like in different corners of this floor. So you're going to want one carbon monoxide out within it has to be within 10 feet of each bedroom. Okay, that's the rule. You need one on each level, but you need level where you have bedrooms, you need 10 feet of each bedroom, which means in some instances one will suffice. If you can have one centrally located between 3 bedrooms and it's within 10 feet of all those bedrooms, that's all you're going to need.
Right.
But in this case here, it looks like it's a little more separated. You're going to need more than one, at least 2.
Right.
So you cover you're within 10 feet of all these bedrooms.
I see.
Yeah.
Right. So, as a landlord, I mean, if the tenants unknowingly uninstall the smoke and also the carbon monoxide alarms, I mean, if something happened, would the landlord be liable for, a fire violation code, or
Okay, if the landlord didn't have those in the units?
if they have the smoke and also the carbon monoxide alarms inside the unit,
Right.
but the tenant took them out. If something happened, who's going to be liable for it? It's going to be catch 2020.
That's a difficult. I mean, he has to have knowledge. I mean, if he had working smoke detectors in there and they were tampered with by the tenants, I really can't speak to that.
Right. Right. Okay.
But, but I'll just say that they are required. Landlords are required to have their units
checked on a regular basis.
Yes, checked on a regular basis. But also they have to be within the units. They have to make sure that they have
comply with the fire code.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and in terms of what are the acceptable power sources for carbon monoxide alarms? I mean, I've seen mostly like battery ones. I mean, do they have hot wire as well?
Oh yes.
They do have hot wires. Okay.
Yes.
Right. And
like
the new constructions, right?
The new
especially.
construction, yeah.
Right.
After 1975, homes are required to have hardwired smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors.
Right.
So the rules, I mean, that law back in '75 applies to both carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. And as far as the power sources, if you had a house pre-1975 and you had no renovations done after that period, you could use the plug-ins or you could use the battery powered.
I see.
And basically, it's where we have smoke detectors have certain rules. We have to have them in the ceilings. Carbon monoxide is generally what the manufacturer says. Some of them are plug-in, and some of them are hardwired with the battery backup. And other ones are just the battery.
Right.
And some of those can go on the wall, whatever the box says.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
And good to know. So, in terms of the fire alarms, let's go back to the fire alarms, if you will. So, let's say, if a person owned an older house, like it was built before 1978, would they require to have hot wire alarms, or they could all be just battery run? So
Right in 1970, it would be 1975 when the law came out.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
So
The new construction, I mean, that's required. Yeah. But older houses.
Anything after older houses, no, they wouldn't put the
okay.
burden of. I mean, that's a lot of money
Okay.
people would have to spend to update their houses like that.
Okay.
But but we require now, and the way we check up on that now is when a house is sold or transferred.
Right.
It's the seller's obligation to make sure that they're up to date with the code. And but even before that, there's still a law that people should have these in their houses.
Right.
So, but we don't get in there until somebody looking for an inspection for their home, and and then that's when we can. That's really where we step in and give guidance on where they need things.
Right.
But everybody should, whether they're going to sell their house now or going to live in it forever, they should have their house equipped right now.
Okay.
Smoke and CO detectors.
Right. Okay. Good to know. So, I think just let's wrap it up. So and I want to thank you for sharing.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And I hope the viewers found that the information is going to be helpful.
I hope so. Like I said before, call my office anytime, the Quincy Fire Department, Fire Prevention. If you have any questions, it's 617-376-101015. And you can speak with anything in the office. We're all knowledgeable on the subject, and thank you.
Oh, thank you for sharing again. Yeah. Okay. Having said that, it is important to have the correct types of smoke and carbon monoxide alarms in the proper places in your home or in a property, because they will save lives, and a fire and carbon monoxide poisoning can be prevented. So please do not remove any smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. And please make sure that you check them on a regular basis, just like Captain just mentioned. So even though they look sort of eyesore, and also they might be annoying to you and your family members, especially with the beeping noise and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's about saving lives. So therefore, it is important to keep all the alarms, including smoke alarms and also carbon monoxide alarms, in working condition, so that at the end of the day, number one, you will comply with fire safety code. Number two, it can prevent a fire and also carbon monoxide poisoning inside your home or to your family members. I want to thank you for watching. See you next time.